Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Yeah, be ye the light. So one day the minister of a church was shopping in the grocery store, and Suzanne let him go ahead. No. when she recognized a man who had visited her church on occasion. So she went over to speak to him, and being a pretty bold minister, she asked him why he didn't come to church more often. "Well, Pastor," said the man, "I really don't care much for your sermons. And besides, you always sing the same two songs." The minister was stunned. She could handle someone who didn't like her sermons. After all, you can't please all the people all the time, right? But she was quite proud of the church's music program and its variety of music. So she said, "I don't understand. What two songs do we always sing?" To which the man replied, "Silent Night and Joy to the World." Jeff gets it. I want to thank each of you for being here this morning and not just, only at Christmas time. I've given great thought to how to wrap up today and wrap up our theme, because today we're wrapping up our theme for December. Because next week, as we mentioned earlier, is our 5th Sunday, and boy, it's going to be an incredible day. But today we need to wrap up our monthly theme of light, living inside. Let's see. Whoops, I went the wrong way. Living inside of God's highest truth. And when we do this, we're going to wrap this up, and then we're going to set the tone for next year. It seems like a tall order, but not so. Spirit came through with just the perfect way. Today we're going to focus on being the light. We're going to focus on it, and we're going to become it. But before we can become it, we must be consciously connected to the source of it. There's this really true, this is such a great story I found. True story of a young man named Manuelo who came to visit America from a very, very small community in the hills of the Philippines. Well, actually, this is a good story, but there's another one I really love too that I'm going to share. Everything in the U.S. was new and wonderful. The elevators, the telephones, the television sets, the fire engines, the electric lights. He had never seen these things before and was he was just in such a state of awe and wonder. When the time came to go back, he wanted to carry something from America to show to his hillside neighbors, to let them know of the wonders of this great country. Most of the things were too big or too expensive, but there was one thing that was cheap and small and very wonderful. See, the fire engine's right there. So he went to the hardware store and he bought a paper bag full of light bulbs and sockets for the bulbs and switches to turn the lights on and off and wires to hang them. And home again, he and his friends, he was with his friends in the hillside village, and he was just bursting with his happy secret. So he busily prepared his surprise. He went through all the rooms hanging the bulbs and the sockets and the wires, and when they wanted to know what they were, he merely said, "Just wait until dark, and you will see." When the sun went down, he went around pressing each switch. When nothing happened, he was puzzled, disappointed, and dejected. Poor Manuelo. No one had told him about electricity. He did not know that the light bulbs were nothing but glass and wire unless they were connected with lines through which the power traveled from the power plant. He wasn't aware of the concept of electricity. He wasn't aware of the source of light. Before we can be the light, we must know the source of our light and claim it as our own. Illumination, living in the light, speaks of spiritual awakening. Waking up from our dream of duality into the awareness of our oneness with all creation. Behind the light in every little bulb is a great dynamic current. Beneath every little wave is the vast ocean, which has many waves. And so it is with human beings. God made every person in its image and gave each one all the qualities inherent in God. To be the light, you must know that you are more than your stories, more than your history. And you must embrace all of yourself while being free to let go of that which no longer serves you or others. Are we prisoners of our history, our family, our past stories? How do we limit ourselves by these stories? Alcoholic, child of an alcoholic, addictions, telling our story or still living our story, and reliving and reliving and reliving. Beneath the stories, beneath the diagnoses, we are all expressions of the Most High. We are beings fully equipped with inner voices of strength and wisdom and grace and light. We all have the same divine beginnings. We all have access. We all have access to the same universal laws that are impersonal. It rains on the just and the unjust alike. Jesus said, "You are the light of the world. You are the light of the world." It is interesting that he, to note that he did not say, "You are the light of the world if you grew up in a loving, supportive, two-parent biological family and had no sorrow in your life." Nor did he say, "You are the light of the world if you were never violated or harmed, if you never had illness or grief, if you never made any mistakes or messed up something in your life." No, he simply said, "You are the light of the world." And then he went on to say, "Let your light shine, so shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father, which is in heaven." And we all know where heaven is, right? It is within. Allow the Father to shine from within. You've heard the saying, "and a little child will lead them." And here is the story that I was thinking about earlier. It's a story that illustrates just that. There was a young boy, and he was on a city bus, and it was crowded with Christmas shoppers. And it was just a few days before Christmas, like today. Kind of the day where there's crowds and crowds of people waiting impatiently for the slow-moving buses. Most loaded down with packages, and it looked like many were beginning to wonder if all of those countless friends and relatives actually deserved so many gifts in the first place. I get that way when I'm wrapping. It's like, do they really need this? Does it have to be wrapped? This was not the Christmas spirit for which we strive. Then they found themselves virtually shoved up the steps of a jammed city bus, and the idea of standing there packed like a sardine the whole way home was almost more than one could take. Everyone was in some kind of an exhausted daze. As people gradually got off, no one noticed that there was more room to breathe again, and a seat or two had become available. No one, that is, but a small boy. He couldn't have been more than 5 or 6, who tugged on a woman's sleeve and asked, "Would you like a seat?" He quietly led her to the closest free seat he could find, and then he set out to find another tired person. As each new rare seat became available, he would quickly move through the crowd in search of another burdened woman who desperately needed to rest her feet. The little boy's eyes dazzled, matched by his smile. As weary women happily placed their heavy load of packages on the floor, the little emissary of love immediately turned to help his next subject. The people on the streetcar, as usual, had been studiously avoiding each other's eyes, but now they began to exchange sly glances and smiles. A businessman offered a section of newspaper to a stranger next to him. 3 people stooped to return a gift that had tumbled to the floor, and now people were speaking to one another. The little boy had tangibly changed something. Everyone relaxed into a subtle feeling of warmth and actually enjoyed the trip through the final stops along the route. No one noticed when the child got off. The passengers practically floated off that streetcar, wishing the driver a happy holiday, noticing the sparkling lights in a fresh and new way. Or maybe seeing them in an old way with the same open wonder that they felt when they were 5 or 6. So that's what is meant by, "and a little child shall lead them." You are the light. You are the light. You have everything you need to be the light in your life. Just be it. Just be the light. So I want to conclude this morning by all of us experiencing a light body meditation. And this is by the Reverend Gene Sweet. And so this is a rather long meditation, but it's just so perfect. It's such a perfect way for us to end this month of becoming and being the light. So please just join me and get comfortable and take a deep breath. Imagine a dark auditorium on a dark stage. Think about being somewhere where it's so dark that eyes opened or closed, it's the same darkness. Imagine that a beam of light has been turned on and that it comes directly from the heart of God. The beam of light completely surrounds you and encapsulates you. In fact, If you were to get up and move around, this beam of light would move with you. It would completely contain you. If you were to stretch or reach, you wouldn't be able to reach out beyond it. There are two things to understand about this beam of light. It is composed of absolute pure love. It loves you. It loves you more than any love you have ever understood or felt. The second thing to understand is that it is intelligence, pure intelligence. It is the intelligence that creates whole universes, planets, spinning in place, etc. And this intelligence knows exactly what you need and is providing it for you on every level, mentally, emotionally, at the level of your psyche, spiritually, and physically. Take a moment and just soak that in. Begin to feel your body expanding about 4 to 6 inches in all directions in the light. It now begins to break apart. The hologram of your body is breaking apart in this light. See space between molecules, atoms, and see the light in the cracks of all of that space. See your body expand even more until the form of it is dissolved in the light, and all that's left is the presence of light. You are now immersed in the presence of light, one with it. No separation, no distinctions. You are a particle of light in the light. The essence of you is still present, but you have no form. You are simply pure light, love, and intelligence. And now you are going to recreate the form, the body, out of the light. So form a perfect skeletal frame out of the light. Cranium and all the discs that come from the cranium show up like lights of a Christmas tree. Perfect rib cage is formed. Every large and small bone formed exactly perfectly. Pour a little extra light in every joint. Jaw, neck, shoulders, elbows, wrists, fingers, hips, knees, ankles, toes. Perfect skeletal form made out of light. Perfectly aligned. Muscle fascia, call the light in. See it wrap the skeletal frame. Very thin, latexy, stretchy material that lays in between the skeletal frame and the density, muscle tissue of the body. See yourself shrink wrapping it all around the skeletal frame to hold the perfect alignment, and later to hold the muscle tissue. It has no current memory. It is formed anew. So it has the right elasticity, strong where it needs to be strong, stretchy where it needs to be stretchy, and holds the perfect skeletal frame. Call all of the organs forth from the light. Brain into the cranium, beautiful pink, healthy and perfect. Eyes, right and left, perfect vision, fashioned from the light, perfect. Right, left ear, sinus, nasal passage. Swallow and create the throat. Light follows the throat down as it creates the stomach and intestinal tract and the bowels so that you can see perfect assimilation, perfect elimination. Take in a deep breath as you breathe in. Perfect lungs are fashioned. Call forth the heart. Call the light in and strike the body at the heart level, instantaneously creation of the perfect heart. As the light beats out, form the main arteries, and then the veins off the main arteries, and then the capillaries. Move into the pelvic area, calling forth the creative organs. Call forth the kidney, the liver, the spleen, the pancreas. Blood flowing, a three-dimensional being starting to form. Create the density of the body. Within this beam of light, call forth another shaft of warm, honey light as it forms the muscle tissue or density of the body, now flowing over the entire frame that you have created. It flows over the cranium and begins to fashion the head and the forehead, cheeks, and the back of the head. It pours down your back, cascading down your back, forming all of the structure of the back that supports the spine, forming around the rib cage, pours itself, forming the chest muscles, the abs, the obliques, merge from the back and the front, forming the pelvic girdle. Pour warm honey light, fashioning the truck of the leg over the lower leg, pull down the leg, forming perfect toes. Come back up to the shoulders and down the arms and hands, and the white honey light pools here and makes the hands. Skeletal frame integrate with the fascia and the density of the muscle tissue, forming around all of the organs of the body and everything integrated together, working perfectly together. It's time now to form the final organ of the body, the skin. Call forth the light and form the suit of light around this incredible body of light that is fashioned from light, and it is perfect. Every detail is perfect. No memory, right from the heart and mind of God. Perfect elasticity, no scar tissue, no memory of disease, etc. All holds it together. Understanding this is a brand new body, we work in the light. The light fashions everything. Brand new body, brand new being. Final part of the process. Sitting in a beam of light. Bring the light up through your head to the top of your head and seal it there. Take the light that's through the body down through your feet and seal it there. Then understand this: you have contained within you the entire universe. All the intelligence and love of God is contained within the light of you, which you are made. You are a being of light, and you have within you all of this light. Now you are a being of light. When you open your eyes, you are a brand new you. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, and that light is you. So go out and be ye the light. And so it is.